Just for those who are joining us from Bahrain or Saudi Arabia or Egypt who don't know City Walk, what is it?
Okay, so first of all, this was a asset that was already developed, right? So it was operating, open, trading. It's not your typical enclosed shopping mall where you have a number of entries. Everything is sort of air-conditioned. It actually sits in a large swath of land area which has residential, but not high-rise. They're more low-rise, better quality residential, I would say. It's got some high street elements. It's got an indoor element. And it's got a sort of a town square. And it is sort of from a walking distance, is quite a vast walk if you look at it and you want to walk the entire area. So it's not your typical thing where you look at a mall and you say, right, we're going to make changes. They're much, in some ways, simpler to do because a lot of it is pure retail, and you sort of look at what's performing, what's not performing, what are the metrics we're chasing, and what are we trying to where are we trying to go, right? One thing we do know is in our industry, everything you do, right, the markets change. And what you do today has to be relevant in 3, 4, 5 years. I don't necessarily want to be doing a change of strategy every year, right? The plan, maybe there's different pathways because of where the market is and a number of different factors. So CityWalk was a great case study of taking something that wasn't sort of aesthetically, exceptional to look at. From an investment purpose, it wasn't delivering and performing at where we would like to see things. So when the JV was formed, our biggest question is, what do we do? So and sometimes you have legacy with certain assets, and one of the things you got to do is you respect the legacy, but you also acknowledge the weaknesses, and you immediately so you don't sort of follow through doing the same thing, right? And you have to be in a way a bit brave, a bit courageous to say, well, here's the changes that we want to make. So we've actually transitioned from a lot of retail into what we call other uses, right? I think that's a trend that you'll see more and more. So we over the last sort of 3 years, at the beginning of 2020, our occupancies were about 35-40%, which is pretty not good if you're in my industry. We've sort of taken that, even taken out 20% more of retail, and transitions towards health, fitness, education, personal services, professional services, bespoke, what we call automotive experiences, not showrooms per se. Showrooms are warehouses. And in a way, we've taken a high street environment that wasn't really a high street because most high streets around the world are quite old. They have very large volumes of public transport nodes, i.e. metro stations, and very large volumes of people that actually frequent it, with vast number of what I would call residential population sitting in the periphery. And this is all new build. It's a 2017 sort of a build. So, to go and that way drastically, it's been a journey. It's probably been more educational for myself. I've sort of have a history of having done very large retail, 600 stores, super regional, with a roof on it.
Just to give context, you spent a lot of time with, among others, Majid Al Futtaim. So yeah. you know the region well, and you know shopping malls and shopping centers in this region extremely well.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally I've sort of been lucky to, done quite large developments, whether it's UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, generally over in the GCC. But then CityWalk is not a mall, so you can't sort of apply the principles or some of the things you do with a mall to this. This is a sort of a space where you've got people living there. Nobody lives in a mall, right? You have sort of barriers, i.e. roads that separate various parts of it. You got very large distances. And generally, you've got very large venues, i.e. Dubai Mall, about 3 minutes down the road from us. So the original intent was all retail, and we basically completely transitioned.
So just to clarify, is because there was the what I would call the mall of CityWalk, and it's an indoor-outdoor mall, as you say.
Yes.
It's not Mall of the Emirates, but it's indoor-outdoor. And then there's the retail underneath the residential blocks. And they're different things, they're different beasts, aren't they?
They are. I mean, so one of the biggest changes we made was we took out 2 traditional retail anchors, i.e. a very large entertainment box and a department store. And we put a university there instead. Now, it's very counterintuitive to what you see if you're building a large super regional. One of the first things you see is everybody's going to have some sort of a sizzle in terms of an entertainment product. And everybody's chasing what's the next sort of big idea. And there's a lot of capital that goes into that, right? Well, we actually knowingly wanted that out. We thought there was a better way of sort of a university gave us a sort of what we call a captive young audience that was there every day, right? And that with itself gives you other opportunities that you can sort of go from there.
Okay, so that's where we were. In terms of moving forward, there's CityWalk is one example, and that's the case study. But there's more that Merex is doing in terms of taking underperforming assets and trying to regenerate them. Another one that we could talk about is La Mer in Dubai, which again, if you know Dubai, you will know it is by the La Mer, it's by the coast. And it is similar to CityWalk. It was, from my perspective, and I'd like to get yours on it, incredibly ambitious and bold project to create something that was an indoor-outdoor space in a country where 4-ish months of the year it's very, very hot and extreme temperature. And it was beautiful, like CityWalk, beautiful, stunningly designed, but the indoor-outdoor thing is challenging if you're a retailer. I mean, there'll be people here, retailers, who will be thinking, well, how can I pay rent 12 months a year for a restaurant or a shop or a clothing outlet when for maybe even 5 months a year, it's too hot to go there? Talk me through that dynamic.
Yeah, so similar. Just one thing on CityWalk. We will finish this year, as of today, around 98% occupancy. And you know,
Can we have 98% occupancy?
Yeah, so
that's worth a round of applause. Come on. And what was it before? 20?
It was about 35. Right. So, but no. I mean, there's occupancy.
If there's an award tomorrow, David, for that, then we'll hand it out.
No, the award goes to people because one of the things I was going to say is anytime you undertake this type of a change, you have to surround yourself with very high caliber, high quality people that sort of help you get there, right? So it's very difficult to do anything, impossible to do anything on your own. You just, you maybe come up with a strategy and the thought process and the vision for things, but then you have to accumulate people who actually are very good at what they do, is crisp and clear, and they help you get there. But
so, carry on, finish your thoughts.
And then the other thing is obviously the metrics. We look at is we look at that data all the time. We're very data driven. We're owned by 2 very institutional businesses, so we're always looking at numbers, and you want. Along the way, I guess it's almost like a highway and the signage along the way to get to the end destination, your data points, your financials sort of tell the truth. So you want verifications, validation along the way as you make that journey. So today, you've got an asset base that's actually, in my opinion, has got probably another 25 to 35% growth in it. So going forward, it sort of becomes different to what it was before. It becomes a very active asset management sort of a portfolio where you are trying to enhance the yields and sweat it a bit, right? Where previously you are in sort of a bit more of a massive change, a bit more of crisis management, and how do we manage the road and then sort of settle it down. Back to Le Maire, similar, unbelievable site, very unique, performance-wise not there. Really, we never go looking for it if you can avoid physically redeveloping things. And there's
because you had to drop a lot of it, didn't you?
Well, we demolished. Yeah. We pretty much have demolished a portion of it completely and doing a rebuild. There are other portions of it that will go through significantly transformational, I would say, redevelopment. What was there 2 years ago, in 2 years, none of it will be there. It'll be a completely different look and feel. The first phase of it opens, we're hoping to open in January. I was on your show with you and we talked. And, it's sort of our sort of a vision of what we think works in that space. It's still the same. It's just... and we're hoping, just like what we have done, is the numbers that then start coming through justifies the change of direction.
So I'm very conscious of time. We've got 3 minutes left. What lessons for people in the room can we learn from some of the, let's call them mistakes that were made with La Mer and City Walk? Beautiful, but they weren't productive assets. And how do we apply those lessons going forward?
Well, I mean, I don't like saying mistakes. It's, people...
That's my word. That's fine.
Okay, so let's say, you do things and just they don't perform to your level of expectations. And the lessons, I would say is be honest with yourself and be honest with your stakeholders, right? Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Always be very clear, very crisp with your internal stakeholders, with your team, and with your external, partners, right? Acknowledge who you are and what you are, right? And be, if you can crystallize that in a very, very, what I call strategic document in terms of who you are, what you are, right? And the pathway you're going and where you want to go. And you, along the way, deliver on various points. You get so many more stakeholders who jump on board with you. Where at the beginning, it's very difficult, especially when you're doing a complete transformation and something that maybe has some legacy reputational issues. But as you go and as you kind of deliver, it becomes a lot easier, right? Where you kind of look back and you say, gee, it's too easy now, right?
So do you just throw money at consultants? You hire, I don't know, ACOM or JLL or whoever it is?
No. We basically obviously hire, like everybody else, we hire, our, elite consultant like an architect. We're very specific in terms of what the sort of the briefs are, right? We're not a architecturally driven business. We are a very much a client that drives what we want, and the architects and the consultants are there to kind of deliver on that. For us, we don't generally, we do most things internal. We don't have a lot of, we have, project managers and environmental consultants because we're doing work on the typical consultants you need on projects, right? But not in terms of somebody driving our business strategy and et cetera, not that way.
Okay, we've got 16 seconds left. I'm going to ask you one final question, and yes or no, because we've only got a few seconds left. Indoor, outdoor retail spaces in the Middle East, whether it's Dubai or Jeddah or Kuwait City, yes or no?
Indoor, always.